All right, folks, we're about to get this show started, so if you're rumbling on up, pepping the step. Oh, they are. Yeah, look at that. I even got some fist pumping back there. Welcome. This is the first ever. This is the first time we've ever done this. First time we've ever had this group of people. They'll all be on stage in a moment. This is the SMX Insiders live podcast mashup. I'm Jason Weigandt. This is Jason Thomas. Somehow they accidentally let our friend Steve Matthes be part of the show. Everybody else on the stage will be a big, highly respected part of the industry. It's cool to have everybody together.
Yeah, this is awesome. You know, we do this show every Tuesday. You guys get to see it every Thursday, and it's really starting to grow. And to be able to add the levels of talent who they all have their own shows, right? Some of them are part of the SMX network, but this is going to be a very unique experience to have all of these voices, and at the very end, they'll all be up here together conversing, and it's going to be an interesting industry first. Should be a great time.
We honestly hope they're arguing, and if it doesn't, with you and Matthes up here, the chances are high.
Steve and I can fill that void, no problem.
You guys will handle the arguing.
It's not so much that we argue, he's just wrong a lot.
Okay.
I don't want to argue.
Sometimes you have to set them straight, and that still won't happen today. So we want to bring the first person on up.
Let's do it.
All right, this is the greatest of all time.
15 championships, I believe.
Yep.
Something like that.
One half of the Title 24 podcast. Let's welcome Ricky Carmichael to the stage. You see, they get cheers.
I don't deserve cheers.
You got cheers. You got cheers. Where do you want to be?
Where am I?
Wherever you want to sit,
there
sir.
you go. There you go.
It's your
Winners sit where they want to sit.
Barbecue.
Winners sit where they want to sit.
What's up, everybody? How is everyone? Good?
Yes.
Yeah, it's awesome to see you guys. Remember last year there was like 10 people. Now we got a good crowd this year.
It must have been because of Jace and Steve, I guess.
Well,
they made the difference, I guess.
There you go.
I don't know.
Absolutely.
Hey, I was going to ask you this, man. In all your racing, did you got to race in the Charlotte, the Speedway, maybe one or two times?
Twice, 97 and 98.
So it's kind of interesting. This is like a hole in the schedule we've had for ages to finally get a race like established in this region. The dirt, the riders love the dirt. Fans are good. This should be good.
This dirt was it looks to be similar to when I raced back here in 97 and 98, which I absolutely loved it racing over at the Speedway. Just the fast pace and somewhat similar to this, not quite as much MX influence back then as what you see at the SMX track, which SMX is being a hybrid track, but nevertheless, it was a lot of fun, and it's always great to be back here. And I think that the Charlotte area in general has some really, really core fans, and it's a great place to have a SMX round.
That's what I'm saying. It needed it. You guys pumped that we're here? You guys pumped that we're here?
I'm happy to be here. I keep saying this, and I never do it. I'm like non-committal about it, but one year I'm going to camp out and just do the whole deal. But the problem is, see, I got to work the next day. You guys get to have fun and watch the races on Saturday, right?
You get about 100 people saying, come on over right now.
All right.
Anybody got an opportunity, an opening? Yeah? Saturday, maybe?
There you go.
There you go. One thing I want to ask, we had a bunch of calls this week planning this.
Yep.
And you had some hot takes on the Chase Sexton, Jett Lawrence battle that everyone's excited about.
Right.
So give us a little bit of this.
Yeah, so on our pre-production calls that we have each week before the broadcast to go over things and somewhat bench race and think of ideas to bring to the viewers at home for all of you guys that are watching on Peacock or whatever network of NBC that we're on, whether it's USA on that weekend. They were asking me of what I thought Jett's coming back and what Chase is, what I thought of Chase. And, you know, there were some different opinions. Some riders think that all the pressure is on Jett, and some think that all the pressure is on Chase. And for me personally, is what I told everyone on that call, is that I feel like Chase has all the pressure and that Jett doesn't have that much pressure. And the reason that I say that, and I have a tremendous amount of respect for all of these guys, okay, I really do. They can do way gnarlier things on a dirt bike than I ever could do. Chase, if you look back at his career, and one thing that he is so good at is he's super dependable, right? If we had RCH again, like, I'm trying to hire that guy. You know he's going to go, you know he's going to show up, and I always feel like he's been under, the guys that he's raced in the past have casted some really big shadows. You name them. Eli Tomac, in the early days, Austin Faulkner, right? He's like always kind of just right there under their shadow. And then, so you look at his career, because he's so dependable, he's so strong, and he never gets up, and he's always taking it on the chin. But every time he's won, maybe not everyone, but just about every one of his titles, you look back, Austin Faulkner went down and blew his ACL out, and Chase lost. Trust me, I get it. You have to be in there to win it, and that is half the battle. I've won some championships like that, and vice versa. And then you go to his Supercross championship, Eli tore his Achilles. And then you go to the Pro Motocross championship this year, and unfortunately Jett got hurt. So when you're digging through everything and you're doing your research, you have to look at, okay, what were the scenarios? Were all the riders in there, and was it legit? And it's very similar to kind of like Ryan Dungey and the Ryan Villapoto battles back in the day. And so that's what I was saying. I'm like, well, in my opinion, I think that like what I'm looking forward to and seeing for this weekend, number one, is Jett being back, and how does he respond? And then, most importantly, how does Chase respond? Because in my mind, if Chase doesn't go out there and beat Jett, then it's going to look like he won, there's an asterisk there.
Yeah, and
I
think
hate to talk like that,
right.
but it's, prove me wrong.
Yeah.
Like, prove me wrong. I'm here for it. You guys can throw jabs at me. Some of y'all probably, yes, actually, probably some of you guys throw shade at me on social media, but no.
Yeah, they're probably sitting, they walk amongst
That's
us.
just me. That was just me.
I'm kidding.
They walk amongst us.
So
No,
anyhow.
I think two things there. One, there's a saying there's never an asterisk on a championship, but, right, all your points are valid. All your points are valid. And I lived through this with Chad Reed, because every championship he had, guess who was missing? The top guy the year before, right? So,
Yeah.
there is both sides to that coin. The awesome part now is Chase gets to go out and prove it, right? Like whether it's
Exactly.
these three or whether it's in 2025, he can go erase all of that talk. But I do love your point about the pressure, because I'm telling you, if Jett wins tomorrow, and I think it's a huge uphill climb for Jett to win tomorrow. I even told you earlier, I don't think he can, just because it's too early.
Yeah.
If he does, sayonara. Like, it is a really, really powerful statement if Jett could come back and win tomorrow.
And one last thing on this topic, because I know we got some other great guys to come up on this panel that I'm really excited to listen to. But when you start weighing out the pluses and the minuses with both of these riders that we're referring to, you take how strong and how resilient that Chase Sexton is, and how he's so dependable, and he's fast, and he's in shape. But then you take Jett Lawrence. He's fast. He's in shape. I think he has a little bit better bike skill. I think he's pretty sound mentally. He is one with the toughest competitors in the championship. And I just feel like that's a little bit better, and I feel like at the end of the day, he outweighs everyone else because of that. Now, I could be completely wrong, and what I love about SMX is the format. I think that it caters. Some guys are better at managing a 3-race playoff than they are a 17-round Supercross series, and that's just the facts. And I think of a guy like Ken Roxon, I think of a guy like Justin Barsha, who are so good at these style of events and like a playoff scenario. So it'll be interesting to see. And while I say all this, I mean this with full respect for Chase. I have a tremendous amount of respect for him, but I don't feel like I'm doing my job properly from an analyst if I don't say these things. I'm saying what I believe is true, and when I'm saying these things, I really do think before I say them, and say things in anticipation that you can't refute what I'm saying.
Well, you've earned the right to say it.
Yeah.
That's honestly, you have earned the right to say it.
But you say there's no asterisk beside a championship. Now let's go to stick and ball, and I think about the Florida State Seminoles last year.
Oh, geez, here we go. He's just
What?
doing that for
I'd
Jace.
rather think about him this year, but
we don't get to go to the playoffs.
Oh, here we go.
Right?
Here we
well,
go.
So we made it we earned the position of the playoffs, but just because our guy can't be the quarterback, he gets injured.
Let's bring out a huge college football fan.
That's it.
Yeah. We're moving on.
He's also the host of Pulp MX, Weege and I have several projects with him during the week too, but let's bring him out, Steve Matthes.
Yeah.
Sure, we can find something to argue about.
Yes, sir.
College football?
Big college football fan.
big
Huge.
college
Big,
football
are
guy.
you big college football
Is
guy?
that the one with 3 downs like the CFL?
Yeah, we call it college football, not university. as you would
Canadian
say.
football
Oh,
league.
university football.
Dude,
Oh, okay.
you know you like the Raiders. Don't even go there.
No, the Raiders, yes, but college, I'm out on that. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. How far down the number of podcast guests said no before you got to me? Like, how many?
A lot. I mean, this is our chance to just tee off because Steve has been telling us for months.
I'm going easy because I know I'm getting reciprocated anything I dish out right now. So but I'm here for you going at him.
Months of him saying, I'm going to save your stupid show.
Yeah.
Months of this.
Yeah.
Months of this.
Yeah.
And this is where we are. We're the host. You are our guest. Our guest.
This did not go to plan like I was told, but I'm happy to be
You're
here.
going to helicopter in.
Can I play co-host?
Oh, yeah, he's co-host. You're a guest.
Well, listen,
Yes.
I don't know if you folks listen to Title 2-4, but there's just 4 here. So where's that other idiot?
Yeah,
My
where's
guy's on vacation all of
I
a
have
sudden.
a theory.
What?
He's not the richest guy here, so he don't want to be here because normally he's the richest guy that's standing around. But
Oh, that's the way
but we
Villapoto
got a guy
Oh,
backstage
come
and RC richer than him.
Oh, he can't compete.
So I think Villapoto said, I'm out.
No.
That's how I think he does it.
Oh.
Because I was told he's the world's greatest retired racer.
He is?
Yeah. Self-proclaimed.
Self-proclaimed.
Oh,
Is there an
self-proclaimed.
asterisk on that title?
No. He
There's
says
no
it-
asterisk on that title.
So where's your buddy at?
He's at a family reunion. Family reunion in Utah. My man is at a family reunion in Utah. I said, I'll do the heavy lifting.
Yeah, okay. All
The
right.
press release said Ricky Carmichael or Ryan Villapoto. It was
Right,
really
right.
left open
Yeah.
if RV was going to show
Well,
up.
I'm sticking with my richest man theory. So
Okay.
I'm sticking with that.
He's
Yeah.
intimidated. Matthes, you watch practice.
I did.
You
From the
see a lot.
glorious press box location that Sean Brennan has gotten us. It's fantastic.
Okay.
I have that sand turn dial.
Okay, so give us the sand turn specifically
That
analysis.
sand turn, well, Malcolm went down in it. Odd,
Oh.
Florida guy, down in the sand.
Okay.
I know you weren't very good in the sand.
Eli
But-
Tomac likes the
He
sand.
said
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago he didn't like sand.
I hated the sand.
What?
Straight up.
You destroy
You're gonna
everybody
think
in
I'm like-
Southwick every single
I know,
year.
but
You
I
can be
hated
good at something you don't
I
like.
hated going to Southwick. Absolutely hated it. Like
What?
A perfect
Yeah,
example
sure
is that.
looked like it.
Now, like when my wife and kids would go to the beach or something, we're like down the Bahamas. They're like, "Come on to the beach." I'm like, "Dude, I hate being in the sand. No, I lived a lifetime in it. I hated Southwick.
That is bizarre.
I
Okay,
mean-
I
then-
think I liked Unadilla better than I liked
Oh,
Southwick.
come
Stop
on,
it.
dude.
You had a
I'm
butt
telling
patch.
you.
You know
There's no
Dilla.
way that's true.
I was young then. Who knew? You know.
You know Dilla. So what did you see, at least in the sand?
Outside lines fast.
Okay.
Chase looked great. Eli looked great. Malcolm went down. The end.
All right, there you go, everybody. That's why he's
yep.
that's why he's a guest.
That's why.
So catch the fever of playoffs and SMX and all that.
Yeah.
I was surprised. We did 19 shows this week. You would love that. You like the hybrid tracks.
I do.
I was
I'm okay with it,
waiting
yeah.
for you to tee off on the hybrid tracks.
No, I'm fine with the hybrid tracks. They're really kind of cool, around neat. You know why? Because these riders, they don't stop bitching about it. It's not easy for them. It's hard. Suspension doesn't work that well. A lot of guys running Supercross stuff, but man, those wood chips and sawdust in the back, that is going to get Southwick rough.
So going back to your mechanic days, if you
Factory
are
mechanic,
factory,
twice.
sorry,
Yeah.
factory mechanic.
Thank you.
I know you beat me in Budds Creek. You guys beat
Budds
me.
Creek first moto, who can forget?
That's right.
Took Carmichael down.
Straight up. So, what would you recommend to your rider as far as suspension setup? It's been a big talk. Last year it was a big talk. Guys showed up with SX settings. Some guys MX settings. What in your mind you think would be the best?
I think you got to go SX Supercross stuff and soften it from there. Go down a spring rate if you need to. Go down some air pressure, whatever you need to. But that rhythm section and some of the speed that coming in those jumps, you got to go Supercross stuff and then adjust from there. You know how the old Daytona thing went.
I really think you nailed Daytona.
Yeah.
Right. I would start at my Daytona setting and work from there.
Which, in our day, your day, you would show up with special Daytona stuff and maybe a little more outdoor stuff. But now, Daytona now, they show up with Supercross
Yeah.
stuff. You know?
Yeah, but I still
crazy.
think you need to be softer than
Yeah,
that.
yeah. But you start with
this track caught everybody out with how rough it got,
Dude.
Yeah.
and it will do the same thing tomorrow.
Yeah.
Daytona Supercross, ideal setting. Supercross forks, outdoor shock.
Hey, for real though, like
That's what I raced with
Tough
every
to
single
turn
year.
though. A little
Talking
bit tough
about-
to turn.
Huh?
A little bit tough to turn though.
Nah,
with
but
that.
I had ruts.
Yeah.
Talking about mechanic days, though, I mean, you had some great battles with with Stu, some great battles with Chad, but
Yep.
really was the guy that beat you in 97.
Oh.
There was
Well.
2 riders that beat you for titles.
Yeah.
2 riders ever
So-
beat you for championships.
We're going to turn this into a Tim Ferry
That's
podcast?
right.
That's what happens?
McGrath
What's
beat
happening?
you a couple times. The
Several.
King.
Oh.
And
And Timmy.
Tim Ferry.
Tim
Tim
Ferry.
Ferry, buddy, beat him down.
The
Took
man.
Ricky down.
When in doubt, play the hits.
Yep. Couldn't handle it.
Hey, he was consistent, and you know what? His consistency probably would really. I think maybe the guy who is most consistent could be the SMX World Champion this year.
Like Tim Ferry style. You can use that.
I'll
You can use
take
that.
it.
I'm telling
taking
you,
it.
you guys
taking it.
better watch. You guys better watch out for dudes like.
Well, Hayden Deegan won
Hunter
last year without winning a
Lawrence.
race.
We found that
I
out.
mean,
Deegan
like
did
even
not win an
Kenny.
overall
Even
last
Kenny.
year.
Listen, I'm not a fan of
Eli.
I'm not a fan of the single, double, triple points. Anybody else with me on
I
that?
am.
It's
I
great.
love
You
it.
guys like
It's
it? Look,
awesome.
thumbs down from that guy. That guy gets
Dude, you got one thumb down.
That guy wins a
Can
Pulp
you
shirt.
deny it?
That guy wins a
Can
Pulp
you
shirt.
deny the
We
points?
are huge fans. It's beautiful.
Well,
It's great. It's well done.
These guys are on the payroll, so they're going to
So
love
good.
single,
It's the
double,
best.
triple.
Yeah.
I don't like that part of it, but I like
But why?
because it just adds too much. Like if you fall in the first turn at the round 3, you could go 1-1-5 and lose a championship.
Don't
Yeah,
fall.
or you could go
Don't fall.
7-3-1
don't fall.
and win it.
Okay, fair, Ricky, fair. But listen, I love everything else about this. I love the hybrid tracks. I like the qualifications into it. I think the riders have really, especially this year, really fought to be here and raced all they could, spent money out of their own pockets in some cases to be here. So I'm a fan of this whole series. I wish the media would get, paid back their travel expenses. But anyways, I just don't like the single, double, triple points. Everything else about this SMX thing is awesome.
Maybe that's why RV is in here.
Yeah, maybe.
Without
We had
those,
to take it out of the Title 24 budget.
without the single, double, triple, we would have never had the setup we had going into the finale last year. And it'll probably play out this year
100%.
where there are multiple people all involved that can win. Otherwise, somebody's going to pull away, somebody's going to have a bad opening round, and it's going to be done. They're going to be out of it. With the triple points at the end, everybody is still in it, which I think is great. If
That's
you want
why I
entertainment,
like it.
It's
That's
great.
why I
on the
like it.
payroll.
No, I'm just telling you, like, I was there, and the whole week
You
I was
can't
there
deny
too.
it.
No, but I'm saying,
Yeah.
like, in the moment, in between motos, we're like, I don't know, is Jordan Smith going to win the championship? Shimoda, Deegan? Like, that was great. To be a part
I
of
thought
that was
Roxon
great.
was going to
Carmichael.
win it at once.
Carmichael.
Yeah,
Roxon was
what?
there.
You won 8,000 races. If you showed up here, these 3 SMX in your day, and you went 1-1-5 and lost the championship and all the money, you'd be so pissed.
But I'd be mad at myself because I fell.
No, you'd be like pissed at this point. You'd be like, I'm the best guy.
I'm just telling you.
You were not afraid to get mad at yourself. I will give you that. You definitely
No,
were
like,
not afraid.
I would have come
Yes.
back here like, you idiot, why'd you fall? I'm like, you're right. I messed up.
Carmichael wins 27 of 30 races all year, but he loses the SMX crown.
Hey, when the lights are the brightest and the stage is the biggest, you got to step
Oh.
up. Got to step up. That's
All
how
right,
it is.
let's bring our next guest up from the Gypsy Tales podcast. Let's welcome Jace Macalpine.
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go.
And
yeah, mate.
I actually learned something today. Do you know his name is actually Jason?
I did.
I did not know that until this
Well,
afternoon.
It used to be on like
The
his,
good
his,
Jason was taken, so I had to
that-
go
that
with
was
Jason.
quite
on
the
like
compliment.
way back in the day, like his media stuff would all say Jason, or like
Really?
years ago.
Wow, you go that far back.
Oh, JT knows.
Yeah, I've
Man.
known of him for a long time.
I used to just call him guy with the gnarliest accent. That's what I always called you like 10, 12 years ago back in the day.
At least
yeah.
like 15 to 20 years, I would say.
Yeah,
20.
2010. Yeah,
Damn,
getting
bro.
there.
Anyway, welcome to the show.
Thanks
This
for
is
having
awesome.
me. Thank you, everyone.
Yes.
Hello,
Yep.
Charlotte. Pretty happy to be here, to be honest.
Co-host. He's
Co-host.
co-host.
Oh, yeah.
Co-host.
Everybody but Steve.
Yeah, your guest.
Everybody
co-host.
but Steve.
Co-host. Yeah.
I'll be co-host. I'll be co-host
Anybody out
with
there,
Jace.
they're also, these are all also
Okay.
co-hosts. Everybody that attended today, our
Steve.
production
But
team,
Steve.
everybody.
I love it.
This
Got a
didn't
good
go-
crowd here tonight.
Didn't go the way I thought
Huge
it would.
boost from last year. Huge boost
We
from
have
last year.
big gains. So if you got SMX fever, I feel like on your show all the time, your main thing, you're trying to, how can we make everything bigger and better and improve and bigger and better and
Drama. I'm the drama guy.
Oh, are you
That
mad
is the
that there are
theme.
privateers here?
Slightly, but like it is. I'm learning to deal with it as I'm learning to accept the things that I can't change until I can, in fact, change them. But no, I think that the SMX thing has been amazing because of the way that it has kept guys in the season. So you look at, like Dean Wilson was doing
Payroll.
a bunch of
Payroll.
races
Payroll.
this year. Yeah. But we got, we're in early September, and we're still at a Supercross. We're still in a stadium. So, as far as that goes, I guess you can say I got the fever now.
Do you feel like no one really knew what this could possibly be last year when you heard the inception of the SMX playoffs, and now you're finally seeing a glimpse of what it could be, say, role play 10 years from now?
Yeah, I was definitely a hater. So if anyone was heard the show, probably not this time last year, I'd probably come around. But when the first ideation of it was released, I wasn't like super on board. But now, I mean, I wish we did it sooner. I mean, I'd love to hear what you would think about racing this series. But I think that there's just so many, I guess, storylines that you can follow into these last 3 races. And I think just the example of Eli Tomac, like we lost Eli Tomac in May. If SMX isn't a thing, we don't see Eli Tomac until January. True. And just for that reason alone, I'm fully on board.
You don't think, he grinds out Iron Man?
Or Webb.
Can you imagine?
Or Webb, or Kenny, or Jett coming back now, or any of them, right?
Cooper.
It's almost like validation. You talked about, Justin Barsha talked about it today. Is like, dude, like, I'm happy about SMX because now he kind of can somewhat validate his season if he has a good playoff run.
And look, the guys that Jace hates, the privateers, the guys further back, they're going to make a lot of money. It's awesome. I'm bugging you. But, basically, if you don't make the main event, you're coming away with, like, $6,000 to $8,000 at all 3 races, like even not making any of the mains. And
Even if you don't make the main.
Yeah.
If you missed it by 1, yeah. I think you get so 6,000 something.
You're still doing all right for those guys, so which is awesome. And they earned it for racing so well all year to
That's
get in.
right.
Yeah.
I think Colt Nichols was a really good example of that last year. Like, he was one guy that I looked at in terms of, like, really cutting through the noise of, like, is this good? And it's like, okay, Colt Nichols goes to a dealership, buys a motorcycle, drives himself to the races. Like, yes, this is good. Like, he did not have to do that. That is so much effort and work to go through. And he went and made a grip of money. So
I remember October 22 at the press conference, LA Coliseum, and I'm listening to the format, and you ever see a dog, they're confused, like their head's cocked to the side? I remember staring at the stage like that, trying to figure out what this was going to be. And then I saw the payout and the prize, and I was like, I'm in. Like, I immediately was like, this is amazing for everybody. Like, I'm all in.
That's cutting through the noise. You saw the money, you're good.
And I wasn't even eligible for any of it, but I was so happy for the riders. This is a great thing.
All right, we got one more co-host to bring on up. You may have heard of him. Specifically, I think the main thing he's known for is his podcast, Bubba's World.
Podcast.
He also used to race.
Right, yeah.
He raced?
He erased. He did race. Yeah. Let's bring out.
There he is.
Yeah. The fastest man on the planet. You did race, or are you just a podcast guy? You did race back in the day?
My kids aren't here, so yeah, I guess I used to.
They don't remember. They don't respect.
Nah, YouTube daddy right here. YouTube.
Okay. Hey, another awesome thing. Like, look, I did it on one of the million shows I did today. I was like, hey, tomorrow I'll be on the broadcast with Ricky Carmichael and James Stewart. Like, we got you 2 guys in the booth together. How awesome is that? Right? How cool is that? Like, that's not on the bingo card 15 years ago, 10 years ago.
When they had separate gear guys and neither one could talk to anybody? No, not on the bingo.
Well, I'd love to go in a
right.
time machine and go to Unadilla 05, 06.
Got
when you guys
negative.
were laying on the ground
Just
together,
got
go,
negative.
then flash forward
Hey,
to today.
JS, why'd he have to bring that up?
Hey, I'm just here.
negative.
This is what we're here for.
eating
This
it.
is the mashup.
Hey,
I'm
in
mashing.
full
I'm just
disclosure,
mashing.
in full disclosure, straight up, we talked about how, like, the 3-round playoff and how that would work. And Steve, you kind of pinpointed it a little bit. I would be like, it would be incredibly tough to challenge and rival James in a similar situation like this.
That's why we didn't have it. I mean, because I was already blown out by all the outdoors, but I would have died for this.
Oh, you wanted
I
this.
would have been
Like,
bumming. I'm like,
yeah.
dude,
$1
I
million?
got my work cut out
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah,
I
I
think
mean-
the only thing that would have saved me is no whoops. It would at least kept it closer.
He's got a point.
Maybe.
He's got a point.
Hey,
Maybe.
I mean, he don't give himself credit. He was good. You got better, especially. I mean, Orlando 07 was. I mean, you had me in my limit. So I was happy you retired.
I didn't have it yet your limit high enough. You beat me.
Well, I didn't have no choice. I couldn't live that down. I had the barber there, everybody. You can't let somebody beat you and walk off the stage.
I don't know if you
like
noticed
that.
this, but with James, a lot of it was win or die.
It was. Unadilla would have probably happened a lot more if I had this format.
But three rounds, James Stewart versus Ricky Carmichael
Oh,
for an
he's got me,
like it would
100%.
have been an absolute send fest for $1 million check at the end of it.
I might have had to ride a wide bike on you in the SMX. Maybe.
I mean,
I mean, just because there ain't no
You
way I
ever
was going
ran
to
a
beat him.
skinny bike? You ever rode a skinny bike next to him?
I mean, I have.
Bud's Creek 03, not wide enough.
Oh.
First moto, only first moto.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, he was
that's
never
what
in
they
front
kinda
of
talking.
Have I been punked? Am I walking into an RC roast?
I know, it's negative. It's negative.
It is
vibes.
negative.
It's
It is.
very negative.
It is negative. You know what, though? We were mentioning the $1 million. You would have loved to have had this, to have a shot to beat him. Is it even about the $1 million?
No, it's
No.
not. I mean, it would have been nice going to the bank with it, of course, but no, it was just. I mean, when I raced him, it was literally about just trying to
Yeah,
win.
it was all
like
pride.
I knew every time I beat him or he beat me, like that's it. Like that's the top of the peak. So like it wouldn't have been about the money. The money would have been nice, of course, but I mean,
It was pride, I
Yeah,
think.
it's
Yeah,
pride,
you know, it was
yeah.
pride. We both knew that we were giving it 120%. And I think at least for me, and I think I could speak for you from this standpoint, is I think that the mutual respect that we had for each other as competitors was second to none. And that's what made it special.
So I have a question for both of you. At what point, or did you ever, when you're racing, right, and both of you and myself have raced for a long time, right? At what point did both of you start thinking about the legacy you were going to leave behind, right? Because you're doing all this winning, you're setting records and championships. I mean, you guys were each the most popular rider in the sport at your given time. Was there a moment you're like, okay, I need this championship, like this is what I'm going to be remembered by in the history of the sport? Did that ever happen for either of you?
I mean, for me, I wasn't worried about that when I was racing. It was always just go out, win as much as you can, win as many titles as you can, and ride off into the sunset. So no, I wasn't really worried about building any legacy. It was just going out and trying to fend off guys like James. And you know, now that I've gotten older, I appreciate what I've been able to accomplish. But I think when you're in a situation like what James and I are in, and things are happening just so incredibly fast, you don't have time to really grasp onto it. And it was several years later when James was winning a lot, and other guys started winning a lot, and they're racking up these wins, these championships, and then you see your name at the top of a lot of these lists, and that's when it really kind of set in for me. I'm like, wow, I was able to be very successful at what I did, but in the moment, at least for me, I wasn't thinking about it.
Do you think maybe stopping at 27 is part of
Things
that?
are different. I was listening to McEnroe at the U.S. Open last week talking about even the tennis players. The guys are going a little bit deeper, a lot longer. It's just a generational change, I think, that has happened over the last probably 15 years where riders are going longer before they retire.
yeah, I mean, just like the bikes, equipment, training, everything's different. It seems like it's more, you know, they kind of have a set program. Like I think with us, like the bikes were, I wouldn't say harder to ride, but they wasn't as good. So everything from nutrition, bikes, everybody has a program. So I think you can kind of go longer. But kind of answer your question on the legacy. For me, it was when I wasn't winning anymore. Then I had to talk about when I did win. I won a lot of races. My legacy is pretty good. That's because I couldn't win. So I probably back with Benny Bloss, I was really thinking.
It's always
like,
just Benny Bloss.
Legacy, like when I'm
Benny.
like in 10th place. I keep saying I battled him with it, but he was gone.
So he was,
I was there. I
He
could
wa-
make 1.5 motors.
Benny co-hosted the Pulp show with me like a month ago. You guys remember that? And Benny was like, "That's awesome, man. It's awesome." He says that. Benny does not take offense to that. He
What
was so
race
stoked.
was there a particular race that you're?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Always
Sorry,
told this story.
No, I'm not.
negative. Negative. Like it was just no.
Dude,
It was my last race, Washugo, and I wasn't even battling. The dude was gone. I was out by myself. Actually, the fans
Yeah,
were
but you
keeping
had
me.
to be injured or something. No, Benny, I have a
wasn't,
lot of
no.
respect for you.
No, I mean, I had some emotional problems going on, but no, I was just, and I, speaking of that, I felt like that when I was watching Eli this year. Like, there's a sense when you cut it off mentally in your head, that's what happened to me at Washugo. Like, I was just had my first kid, there was things going on in the team, but I wasn't the James Stewart that showed up earlier that year before, the Dungey incidents, like I was thinking about, all right, well, maybe 5th place, all right, this, and I was done. So for me, personally, I was either all in, winning, or battling, or not battling with Benny in 10th place. Like, it was the same effort, same everything, but my mind was different.
Why couldn't your mind be there in like 07 in Orlando?
Because of you. Kept you going.
I just feel like, at least I felt this way racing, and we talked about it on your podcast, is I just felt like there was always something just a little bit extra that both him and I did when we were racing each other. And I think a lot of it has to do with the history and how we grew up together and grew up kind of the, same way with nothing.
What I wonder, though, is like, I am one of those guys complaining about the clouds in the sky and walking uphill to school both ways. But
all the time.
Yeah,
yeah,
but I don't want to be that guy.
Made a career on it.
I think you do.
I don't want to be that guy, but I do feel your era was so special. I really do. Looking back on it, I don't know if it's the 2 strokes, you two Florida
Aluminum
guys.
chassis, steel chassis.
Yeah,
no fuel injection.
I just want to think it was super special, and I don't know if we'll ever get there again.
I completely agree.
Well,
But what
that's
makes
why we
it?
retired at
Why do you
27.
guys?
Yeah.
But why do you guys?
I have a
what
theory
makes
why.
it any
I
more
have a theory
special
why.
than what we're witnessing right now?
I know.
I have a theory
don't know,
why.
but I just
Here's what I
do.
think. You were winning really young, and you just kept winning, and you were winning really. It was like we knew this collision course was en route for 10 years before you finally raced each other. If you look at, even 5 years ago, was Jett Lawrence, he was barely on the radar. Chase Sexton was like the 2nd or 3rd best guy. We've seen so many ups and downs. You two were the only guys that they just started winning at age 7, and they just kept on winning, and no one could beat them until they raced each other.
Yeah.
That's a long runway
Sure.
to be like, I know one thing, that guy's really good, and that guy's really good, and there's no asterisks, no questions. We don't need a bench race. We just know these 2 guys are awesome. And
Yeah.
you don't
Yeah.
get that purity
You guys
very
agree?
often.
You guys agree on that? I think.
Well, thank you. I
think that's
mean,
what it
I feel like we grew up in a special time for sure. I mean, with the ever-evolving chassis deal with, like, again, steel chassis, aluminum chassis, then 2-stroke to 4-stroke, then back to 2-stroke, and then fuel injection coming in, and it was an interesting time. And I think I'm happy that we grew up and raced in that era, because I learned so much stuff to be able to help me with what works on setup, what doesn't work on setup, and all these situations that I was in.
And let's face it, mechanics were better back then too.
Here we go.
Absolutely.
He learned all this stuff, and he asked you what setup to use down here.
What are they now then?
Not as good as we were.
Parts
Hey,
changers?
we did do our tires back in the day. These guys never changed the tires.
I always felt like there are very few guys. McGrath was one, Ricky was one, James was one. I think RV maybe at certain times, but there are very few guys that can go in and absolutely suck the life out of the competition to where everybody goes to the line knowing that they're not going to win today.
And from pretty much day one.
They already know
Yep.
that they're not going to win today, right? And when James was at his best, when Ricky was at his best, McGrath, everybody else was just like, well, we're going to go through the motions today, but we're not winning. We're not winning.
Speaking of that, and I appreciate everything you guys saying, but I also think personalities and just the difference back when me and him raced, I was thinking about it as we were talking, pretty much every time we raced, one of us probably crashed. So you kind of knew it was, that's all they had. I crashed a lot. There were sometimes you crashed, but truthfully me, I think what we're witnessing with Jett Lawrence, Chase Sexton, some of the rods that they had, some of the best rods I've ever seen. So
100%.
I think it's maybe personalities or whatever it is that we might not see it the same, but I don't see much difference watching those dudes out there racing. They're riding really good, and truthfully, I'll always remember what Chase did at Hangtown, the second
last
moto.
to first.
Jett Lawrence, for a while he had those guys kind of like we were. They were going to the gate, not thinking about beating them. Chase just did that this outdoor season, so it's there. I don't know what it is that we don't quantify or whatnots, but
Their stories still being written too.
Yeah.
Their stories are still being written. So
Well, I think with you guys, particularly when you were racing and you guys were racing together, you were both pushing each other to just such an insane level. And I feel like, if you added, let's say, Jett into that era, you'd probably see him either win or crash. And you know what I mean? I feel like you guys were just each other's kryptonite, to where it made you at 100% at all times, and the best man kind of won, And I think you see like Jett 24-0. I mean, I don't think we saw Jett ride that fast. In
22.
terms of,
22.
22.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hey, sorry, boys,
Protecting these guys.
sorry,
Protecting these guys.
sorry.
They
But
got 2 more.
But you know what I mean? It's like he doesn't quite have that person that can take him to 100%. And I think that's
agree
why
with that. I agree with that.
it just hits a little bit
Or
different.
Orlando 07 to me will always be the one where you want to see where they can go. You want to see where this can get pushed to. Because I was in that
Want
race.
to see how weird this gets?
I was in that race, and every time they went by, which was multiple times, I was like, I remember audibly speaking out loud, like, "Mother of God, what are they doing?" Because that was, you guys were at the pinnacle right there, right? That was it.
Think of High Point and Redbud, 2 races where you 2 guys. How fast do you want to go? Because I'll go that fast. You know.
Yeah. Which year? I don't remember one year.
I can't even.
The High Point one ended poorly for you.
Yeah, I was
Did
laid out.
I
Yeah.
race High Point in 07? I can't even
Yeah,
remember.
no, you.
No, before
you did.
that, I
You were
think.
by yourself. I already.
Yeah, you won
I
everything
can't-
up till Millville.
I woke up,
remember.
put my socks
I've had
on.
a lot
I
of
knew I was
fun
beat.
I was thinking more
07,
05.
everybody. I'm just gonna tell you that.
No, 06? I don't know.
Yeah, well.
High Point 06?
No, we had.
Was that when you went?
Yeah, I think about what would have been if I wouldn't have crashed. But
Yeah.
no, I think it is a cool thing. When I watch old videos, like when I watch us race, we don't look slow. Like even
See, I
compared
think
to
we
these
do,
guys.
dude.
What?
Really? Yeah, you on your
I
own
watch.
on that one.
Huh?
I'll send you
No,
some of my
I mean,
home
Brother,
movies.
I can
I'll
tell
show
you,
what
as
slow
one
looks like,
slow
sir.
person on a motorcycle, you're not slow
No.
at any point ever.
Go watch Atlanta Supercross 1997.
Oh well, I mean,
125
Well,
class.
1997.
back then, yeah.
Timmy
No,
looked fast though.
Timmy won a career going double single. I mean, I get it. Like,
All right, we got fan questions. Are we
Okay.
gonna do it? Are we time for this?
Yeah, let's do
do
the
the fan
fan-
questions. These guys are excited about this.
Bring the heat.
Yep. Go ahead. Where are you from? What's your name? What you got?
Oh, we came here from South Florida.
Okay.
Nice.
Here.
Oh,
Was
where
here
at?
last year. Jupiter, Florida.
Oh,
Cool.
big
Good golf
dude,
courses.
big money right here.
Big golf
Jupiter.
guy.
Yeah, golf, huge. So question for both you, RC and Stu. So Steve has broken the news that like Phil Nicoletti is start coach for some of the big guys in the field right now. I wanted to see if back in the day if there was anybody that like maybe you two listened to. Maybe it was a Roncada or maybe it was maybe somebody like Tim Ferry who maybe gave you tips because it seems like it's a lot more friendly now than it was back in your
Oh,
day,
it's way
you know?
friendlier now.
Yeah, what is he starting?
Nicoletti is giving a lot of guys tips on how to get starts, even though he's on the gate battling them.
Yeah.
Like Sexton said, Phil helped my starts. They're not even on the same team. There are some other teams that have asked Phil
Yeah, is
to.
it too friendly?
Maybe
you know
ride
who
their
helped me
bikes?
out was Jeff Emig helped me out quite a
Oh,
bit.
you did have that. Okay.
Like older guys like that at the time. Larry Ward, when he was my teammate, he helped me out quite a bit. I always go back to this. It was 2000. Larry Ward and I were factory Kawasaki teammates. And there was some gnarly jump, and he just came over to me in the rig, and he's like, dude, why are you even worried about jumping this? You're not going to be able to do it for 20 laps in a row, so quit worrying about it. You are fretting over something that you're not even going to do in the main event. And as soon as he gave me that little hint, I took that with me for the rest of my career for the most part. And like, when James would do some gnarly stuff on the bike, if I knew I couldn't do it, those were nights where I'd just basically say, well, I'm going to surrender to second. I'm going to do the best I can and try to make up as much time as I can on the track everywhere else. And if it works out, it does. If not,
See, and I knew that
get
was his
beat.
game plan too. So I was like, all right, yeah. But yeah, my teammate was Dirty Dog over here.
Right. I
Timmy.
mean,
Tim Ferry.
he pushed you to the perfect season.
Oh, he pushed me all right.
Off the
yeah,
track.
as a teammate.
Right off the
yeah.
track.
Who
Yeah,
was your
right up-
teammate at Factory Cowie like your first year? I can't even remember. Ezra, right?
Yeah, Yogi was, and
Carpenter.
Roncada?
no, they didn't.
Burner?
No,
Burner?
I almost said something, but no. Yeah. Oh, I keep that for the show. Yeah, Roncada. I had Paul Carpenter for a minute, but Burner,
Burner?
Michael Burner.
Yeah, Burner.
Oh,
Burner.
Burner.
Yeah, Burner.
Got
Come
it.
on,
Yeah.
boys. Come on. Aussie.
Yeah.
Probably
But
Burner
were there
the
guys,
longest, right?
even when you were really young, maybe
Very.
not your factory days, were there guys when you were like 12 or something that you would ask stuff from?
No, I mean, I'd be honest. Fro was really cool to me. Like when I was on 80s and stuff like that. McGrath, Lampson, those guys. But speaking of like the era, maybe some of the things going back to the conversation we were talking
Yeah.
about, why we see things different is because we didn't talk to people like that. Like there wasn't no Phil Nicoletti around. There wasn't no like, all right, Jay Sexton and Ken Roxon battling, and then Xbox on Sundays. Like, I mean, we raced on the racetrack. We raced to the airport. We raced to get our jet off the thing.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
we
It was
raced.
full on.
It was.
Hey, didn't it
yeah.
catch you guys out when Eli and Kenny were on the private jet together before that? Like,
And Adam.
There's
Adam's
no
in there.
way
I
I,
was
would
like-
be on a private jet. Could you imagine me and Reedy on a
exactly.
private
I was like,
jet? I'm like, no
what?
way.
Like, I couldn't believe it. But that was like a sign of the times.
Is
it
it
really
too-
was
is
a
it
sign
too
of the
nice?
times.
But it's just different. It wouldn't have worked for me, at least, just because I'm like, this guy wants to wreck me and beat me and take money off the table for me. And there's no way I'm going to be friends with that guy. Didn't mean I didn't respect him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's too nice. I just go back to, we just live in a different time. The world has changed, things change, things evolve, and it's just a different type of competitiveness. I mean, it was eat, sleep, breathe, win or nothing.
And I think that translated though, like that
did.
magic that we're talking
I
about.
don't-
Like I
I
think
don't-
that's
I-
what translates.
I know these guys want to win. They want to win.
Yeah, I mean, truthfully,
Like,
that's
but it
why
just-
I hated Chad, because like when I raced I knew exactly what I was getting. Chad was hard to beat because you never knew.
Listen, he was
And,
my
like,
best friend, and I didn't know what I was getting.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll tell you right
And,
now.
but probably that's why we, see it differently, because it is. And when you look at the riders out here, we call Hayden Deegan like more of an old school racer,
Yeah.
because he is more, our back in our day, I would tell you on the cover of Racer X with my shirt off, like, oh, my whole life is about January and I want to beat that dude. Like, you don't hear that now. Like, and so you knew I wanted to win, like, I did everything probably just like all these guys do, but you don't hear, like, so that personality is a lot different. That's the biggest thing in this era. But speed-wise, I mean, these guys are out there competing, but everything was about beating that dude.
If you don't win, you're last, basically. Straight
Should
up.
make a-
I
should
mean,
make a movie
it
about
was it was like that.
Should make a movie
You
about
know, it's
that.
like,
We got
why
more,
didn't you win? Why
we got
didn't you
another
win
question
today?
here?
I'm like, well, I got.
Hey, how's it going? We're from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I was gonna get y'all to comment on talking about Chase and Jett a lot, but I think what was ignored this outdoor season was Malcolm, your little brother. His consistency, getting fourth and pushing it through, and him being an ex-champion. I think in that third place position, I think he can really be a sleeper in this playoff series and get in there. And of course, we got AP, who everybody loves, but besides that, I was kind of seeing who y'all got in that third position. Coming in from the outdoors, people riding good, the fact that you can do 335 or whatever, and at the end of it, and who y'all think is going to be in that, I guess, position.
Yeah, well, if Malcolm's a sleeper, he need to wake up. Yeah. No, I mean, for sure, racing outdoors, you can see the improvement. It was kind of, sleeper-ish, kind of, like he just got better and better, and I think you'll really notice his improvement next year during the Supercross season. Like, I suspect he'll have a better Supercross season just because he was out there. To go from, round 5th place to 8th place to competing up here and beating Jett Lawrence, Chase Sexton, that's going to be a huge task, but overall, he'll be a better rider. So to me, I don't know. I mean, I think everybody has that mindset that there's 3 races left. They know every position is a lot of money, and so I can see it almost like Anaheim ones, like the heat races. These guys are racing like all out, and throughout a Supercross series, things are different. So Malcolm, he could be a sleeper, but I think you'll really see the improvement from the outdoors next year in Supercross just for finishing all the races and stuff.
I like that question, and I want to know from the rest of you who you think could be a sleeper, not even like third, but even second. Who do you guys like have your eye on, pinpointing?
For me, this weekend,
and why?
This weekend specifically, it's going to be about the start. And I asked Chase Sexton about starts during the press conference earlier today because the way I look at the track is it's split start. There aren't whoops. There's not a lot of technicality to the track. And in the technical sections, you're not going to be able to pass anyway in them. So if you're not near the front positioning early on, it's going to be really difficult to move forward. So I think guys like Justin Cooper and some of the guys we're not necessarily thinking about,
There's your sleepers
they
right
have a
there.
real chance. They have a real chance to be there because of the position they're going to put themselves in. They're going to be able to capitalize on the opportunity.
I mean, who do you think?
I just posted that on X and Instagram right now, so
That's your opinion
no
now?
other rider's going to give you any insight tomorrow because you picked someone.
Yeah. Like, who do you think? I agree with you, like a start. But
Yeah.
who do you think will race their way into like second?
I think
place,
Chase
third?
is going to have to.
I agree.
I
Like-
think that a guy like Kenny will race his way in up to the front in at least third, and I think a guy like Eli will.
Yeah.
I reckon Hunter Lawrence has got a lot of seconds this year.
100%.
He's
a sleeper.
3 seconds through 3 rounds, like just might mathematically be enough to do it. And man, even the practice starts that the Hondas did, like they have something going on.
I want to
with those
see.
bikes, you
I
know?
want to see Hunter bounce back physically, though, right? Like he looked before we got.
He's got a good 20 minutes at the moment.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. Like before we left for the break at Washougal, he looked like he was hurting, right? Like physically, and then.
Do you see that bike? Bike was a little rough on him.
I did, but he recovered a lot. And then we went to Ironman, and I saw the same guy again. He just looked worn down by 28 races. That's the same guy I saw at Charlotte a year ago. I want to see if he's full tilt, no problem. He'll be up front. He'll be on the podium tomorrow. But if he's that same guy where he's struggling late because of low energy, it's going to be a rough day.
Steve, do you think Lars has the whole shot button here for the Hondas? Because
Yeah,
he does it all, right?
I talked to him earlier. He's got it. Yeah, he's
Okay.
got it loaded.
So it's controlled by Lars'
The
phone?
new
for the starts?
iOS is out. And
Oh, okay.
It's fine, yeah.
So they got
no,
SMX
but for me,
software.
like, no whoops, right? Easy Supercross track, good starter.
Justin Cooper.
There's a gritty veteran out there from New York known to pull a few starts.
Oh,
Come through the
Phil's
pack.
going to get third.
Who wants
Phil.
to see Phil
You're-
get third?
are
Come
you on-
Yeah, there we go.
Are you on his
Ridiculous.
payroll?
I'm on his payroll.
I think
yeah,
you are on
absolutely.
his payroll. Phil. Yo. We saw it in Chicago last
Shorter
year.
races, you know,
Known Supercross star.
no whoops.
We got more fan questions here. Here we go.
Yeah. So my name's John. I'm from right here in Concord, North Carolina, 20 minutes up the road. Going back to the conversation about the Stu and RC, you were able to push it to 120%. How much do you think that was because the bikes weren't at the speed limit of the tracks yet? And like now it's a lot harder to push the Supercross that hard because it's just, you're limited by how technical the tracks are and how fast the bikes are.
That's a really good analysis of what is happening. Yeah, the bikes are so fast. I think, though, the bikes are, everybody has lockdown devices. Everybody is starting from a metal grate. There's so many more equalizers. The technique of using the clutch, getting off of dirt, has changed the game. So it makes it that much harder. And with the bikes being fast and so much torque coming out of corners, they're able to just do all the jumps pretty
And
much
the
all the time. So there's
traction
no
control of that
separation.
too,
So
right?
like, you know, I knew if there was a gnarly triple coming out of the corner, I had to get the corner right. But now these guys, they just come out and just, and they're gone, you know? So I think that's changed.
I think it's hard to
that's
overstate
changed.
how much the ECUs and the fuel injection has
Yeah.
changed.
Early Carby
changed the
4-strokes, man.
motorcycles.
That's a
Yeah.
scary era.
But
to
all that
ride
power,
Supercross.
like
Dude.
I'm not an engine builder, but I don't think the torque number and the horsepower numbers would blow you away the difference. But the way they can use the power and get it to the ground and the acceleration curve is so much more because they can use all that power.
And just know nothing in the back of your mind. Like, really. Like, when do we really see issues with motorcycles? But, like, there was a lot of pops and cracks and splutters and farts back in your day.
You ever
Like,
have car
going through a
problems on your
rhythm
bike, Steve?
section, like,
Dude.
I had a couple of
Scary.
Yeah.
Did you
Dude,
ride-
there's
did you-
times like,
Did you ride a four-stroke carburetor?
Yeah.
The first Cowie was a carb?
I
dude.
wouldn't even call it a four-stroke.
until 09 was
I
the
don't
first
know
Cowie
what-
one.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, yeah. Actually,
Your
Trying
05, your 05 wasn't fuel injected, or 06 wasn't fuel
09
injected.
09
That
Cowie
was
was the first one.
no,
09.
I'm trying to think.
Remember the on-offs? You had to be really gentle, like, you know,
Yeah.
oh my
Oh
God.
yeah. Cliff White would be like,
Turn the
dude,
idle up.
whatever you do, do
Turn the
not
idle
lip
up.
the throttle in midair, because when you land
Yeah.
off that tabletop,
I
it
think
will
your
bog out.
10 Yamaha
Like,
would have been the first one, right?
Yeah, the first one. Yeah. JT knows that mechanic. Yeah, whatever.
That's
Sorry,
crazy.
man, jeez. I'm scarred permanently from carburetor days. I don't want to think about them.
Yeah, the first.
Four-stroke carbs are gnarly. I remember
Yeah.
Goose
And
just
you
having
guys
those
at
things
Honda.
laid out and like,
Dude.
what is that?
We would look at you guys at Honda because Yamaha's first guy with four strokes, and then you guys came out with a much better bike. And we're looking at these Hondas and listening to them on the test tracks, and they're like, they don't burp or fart or nothing. Look at them,
Yeah.
they're perfectly jetted. And meanwhile, our guys are like, "Brr, brr, brr, brr."
Poor
Yeah.
Heath Voss.
Yeah.
Poor Heath. He was like the test dummy
He
for
was.
every
He
Yamaha
was.
carburetor
Yeah,
setting.
we sent Heath out to do a lot of testing on carburetor Supercross.
Yeah, poor Heath, yeah. But no, I mean, I think the biggest thing with the fuel injection is more when the tracks get hard, you know, like even 09 when I raced Reedy, Vegas, I didn't know it then, but it was so much easier and he was so much better because of the fuel injection and because like it eliminates that really having to work the throttle a lot.
It was connected, right?
Yeah,
like
it's
instantly
always,
connected.
Yeah, like it's gonna do what it says it's gonna
we have
do. or whatever.
adjustability too.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
You didn't have that adjustability
Yeah.
that he had.
And
But
now,
sorry, James.
no, go for it.
I was just going to say, I think on the flip side of the, like obviously the ECU and the fuel injection so much better, but if you go back to say an 07 Honda, Kiefer actually just did a brilliant test on the RacerX YouTube, but you go back to an 07 chassis to a 2025 and like they've gone softer, well, I guess they've gone harder. Last year was a little bit softer, but the chassis are so much different now. Like it really seems like what you guys missed out on carbies, you kind of gained a bit on the chassis side of things.
We did 120%, and the evolution of aluminum chassis and going from steel. Like we just went through so many generations and little tricks and pieces of that we used to massage on the frames, you know, to get them to be a little more.
Yeah, I bet you guys massage the frames at Honda. We had some theories.
Did you?
You still have lots of theories.
I think the
unfortunately
acronym
here
for
all
massage was CNC.
When you were,
I think.
when you were yelling at me at Salt Lake, I couldn't get a word in about your frame, but that's what I was trying to talk to you about.
Oh, yeah, you wanted to know what we were doing?
03?
Yeah.
Was that 03?
03,
Yeah, I remember that. My dad was down there like, get
Your
him,
dad
Ricky,
was trying to
get
play.
him. Yeah.
Your dad was trying to play peacemaker.
He's always like that. He was peacemaker like with Reed. I remember like a few times I stuffed him. Dad be like, why you do that to him, Junior? Then he gets around me and be like, why didn't you do it back to him, you punk? Like, emotional. But yeah, I think, the bikes have gotten a lot better. And I don't think I think when I, like I was saying, mentioned earlier, the speed-wise when I watched, it didn't look like we were that slow. I think maybe the difference is you got more guys. So maybe the separation when me and Ricky raced, there was only like, 3 of us really that had to worry about winning a race. Now you got like 10 good guys. So maybe the Jett Lawrence and Chase Exton could be as dominant, but there's so many more good guys now that it just doesn't seem like that big of a gap. So,
and I just think there's so much data from like watching the career that you guys had to where it was like win or crash. You know what I mean? And then like following your era, we had Villo, never crashed, Dungey, famously never crashed. Like I think you guys caused a bit of a shift in terms of just like the mentality too, like what people were prepared to do to win championships.
You see OJS laid out on the side of the track over there with Bodner, it make you think differently too.
Make some changes.
Whatever I do, I don't want to crush like
I don't wanna
James.
be like that,
I don't want
dude.
to crush like James.
I ain't trying to win that much.
We had one more fan question to take from the back. That's good stuff. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Nicole from China Grove, just 25 minutes up the road. You guys talked a little bit about lining up on the gate and knowing some of those riders that when they got to the gate and they saw you, they knew they weren't going to win for that day. So my little guy rides a 65. When he gets to that gate and he sees those elite riders as a privateer, he's automatically in his head that says, I'm not going to win today. So what advice do you give those guys that aren't those elite riders lining up against those as a privateer? How do you get them out of that?
Start a podcast.
Dude,
Because
It's the great equalizer.
that was rough. No,
We're on the same level of these two right now.
I think I'll go back to one of the things my mom always taught me when I was a young kid, just like yours. Is she always just told me, you go out and you do the best that you can do. And if the best that you can do is 5th, then you must get 5th. But what you can't do is if you're good enough to get 5th, you can't fall down and get 8th. So you go out, you take your 5th, and then we'll go on and we'll work on where we need to be better. We'll see where the competition is better than you, and we'll work on that during the week. And if all you can do is do your best. And sometimes it's enough, and sometimes it's not. And so that's what I would tell my kid, if he was lined up and he's on the 65 class. I'm like, dude, just go out there and do your best, and then we'll work to improve each weekend.
Can we find Racetrack's fault? Did you ever finish fifth in a race ever? And you're like, where's this mythical fifth?
Bud's Creek.
I was going to say something, but
Hell hath no fury as
Yeah.
Ricky coming back and getting fifth. I'm just going to tell you,
Fifth.
I was
He
there
was
in
cool.
those days. And
He was cool.
To his point, though, he was a lot better than fifth, so he shouldn't have been getting fifth.
That is true. Just finish where you're supposed to finish.
James is
There you
like,
go.
what's fifth?
Well,
What's fifth?
You get a lot of fifths.
I mean,
James?
what
He got fifth at
wanna
Washugo
know-
and then he quit.
I'd like to know, answer her question, and then I got one for you.
yeah, I didn't get the same advice as you did, but no worries. It's
all good.
differently. Hey, just try. But no, I mean, I would say, the mind's a powerful thing, really. I mean, you keep things in perspective. All these guys out here, the best, less than 1% of the people in the world can do what they do out there, and your son can beat, billions of people on a motorcycle. Just keep things in perspective. Like, that's what you think, that's what's going to happen. And I feel like even out here, a lot of this comes down to not talent, it's really upstairs mentally. I used to have a teammate, Kyle Regal, and I told these guys this story. During the test week, when we were testing during the week, the guy would be faster than me, like all week long. Hated it, couldn't stand it. He would go to the race on Saturday and not even make the night show. Not even talking about LCQ, worried about getting chizzed. No, he couldn't even make the night show to get chizzed. So, but it was a mental thing. Whatever flipped between Thursday at the test track and going to the race, maybe it was the same thing, that he just felt like he couldn't beat him. But I would just say, it's really upstairs. You can kind of think your way into a lot of good situations or bad situations as well.
Do you what is one thing when you were little like that age, that Big James would get most frustrated with you about at a race?
If I quit or didn't try.
Quit
Yeah.
or didn't try?
Yeah. He was always frustrated on a lot of things, but
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Did you have some long motorhome rides home?
Yeah, I had a few of those, but the one thing that my dad always instilled in me is never giving up.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. And
100%.
so, he would get upset about, whatever. He would be bummed, if we didn't win, but he never got mad at me for not winning. He got mad if I didn't try, you know? And so, I try to teach that to my kids. It doesn't really work, but I think that's more of an indictment at me as a parent more than anything else. Soft kid, I don't know what's up, but yeah. Anyways,
There we go. Good advice. We've got a couple more minutes here. We haven't talked 250 class at all. Hayden Deegan is dominant right now in the 250s. He's won the Pro Motocross title. He won this thing last year, and he's a bit of a trash talker. I want to get your opinion. Well, first of all, I'll actually go to you. In our line of work, honestly, it's kind of helpful. He gives talking points and drama. So when you hear that, do you actually internalize it in that way? Like, ooh, this is going to be good for content? Or are you actually just like, oh, man, you just have your personal opinion? How do you look at that? Because I believe part of what they do, not all of it, part of it is they are creating talking points for everyone, fans, us, everybody else.
Yeah, I think that there's a level at which, they're playing the game, and there's a level at which they should play the game, and I think that you guys played the game in a different way in terms of, the rivalry, you had walls up. So I just think that you're in a sport, essentially, it's a game, and I think they're playing the game. Hayden knows that he can say things on the podium, and if he goes out and backs it up, I know he gets in people's head, I know that it upsets these guys. I know, for how much that he's talked, how much smack that he's talked, where's the retaliation? Nowhere.
Yeah.
So he's just fully got these guys, he's just mean mugging these dudes 24/7. No one's had the guts to stand up and react. So it's he's playing the game. It's working.
Maybe
I might
they're
as well
trying.
keep
Maybe
doing
they're
it.
trying though.
Yeah, maybe
Do
they
you
just
think
can't.
they're trying?
I don't think that. I think they're all scared of retaliation.
No.
I'm
So
with you.
You think
I'm with you.
Scared of what?
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
No
What are
one's
they
messed
scared
with
of?
it.
Social media?
No,
YouTube comments? What are they fearing?
No one gets near him on the track. Tom Vial at Colorado, he should have cleaned his clock. He was he was right there for a big pass to make a statement on Hayden. Didn't make it.
Yeah, but he's got there's other ways you can make a statement rather than cleaning their clock. That guy's a 2-time MXGP2 champ. That's a different kind of etiquette.
So I think he's going to eventually run into someone because he's angering people with those comments, right? And he knows it and he's getting away with it and it's working for him to this point. But he's going to run into somebody where angering them makes them better, and that's going to be a problem, right?
Yeah.
I don't know who it's going to
for
be,
sure.
right? He's going to run into one of these 450 guys, whether it's Sexton or who, along in his career, as he continues to progress, someone's going to feed off of that, and it's going to be the worst thing he could do. He just hasn't ran into that yet. And
Yeah.
I know because I wasn't at that level, but if you made me angry, I rode better. Like, that's the worst thing you could do. You would want to calm me down, and I would be worse. He just hasn't found that guy yet that will retaliate. Jason Anderson, Justin Barcia, that's not the approach you want to take with those guys, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So you have a different side. You think it is, they're not retaliating.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying they're scared. I'm not saying that, but
They don't want
I
the
think
smoke.
the only way to really say anything, I mean, yeah, Hayden's been beat this year. I mean, he got 11th a few motos ago, and then, so it's not like he's as good as he is. It's not like he's pulling what he did the first moto at Budds Creek on these guys, like 30 seconds out front every race. But he is talking his way into, I would say winning. He's got to go out there and work, but talking is helping him. And I think at some point, like, these guys got to, I mean, just take them out. Like, you got to, just to let them know that, look, you might not beat me. I might not beat you, but this ain't gonna happen, you know. And I think it would change it. And so I give the kid credit because he's figured out a way, really, on the motorcycle, but also he's using, just like every guy, they train harder, they try to come up with different ways and try to every inch. He's figured out that by talking, and it's working, whether the field believes it or not. He believes it. And
he believes it.
Yeah, and that's all that matters. And I think that's when he races with an ego and an attitude that kind of like what we used to have.
But I think it's something different than and this isn't a slight towards anyone that he's racing with, but you're saying what you think of his competitors, and I know how I would think if I was racing him, and I'd be like, dude, bring it on. I want a piece of you.
Yeah, and I just don't think anyone's like really
And
stood
I know
up to that. You
like
know?
I'm sure you wanted to take it to me every single time, no matter what I said. That's why I didn't try to say anything to you. I didn't want to make it harder on myself. Like, dude, you wanted to tee up on me every single weekend, just like I wanted to beat you.
Yeah.
I wasn't scared of racing you, but I think we're different. I think our mindset is different.
He's
It's
going
just
to
different.
race someone who is confrontational eventually, right?
Yeah.
Like right now, it seems like the guys he's engaging with want to diffuse
But
it.
what happens if he likes that?
No, it's fine. I'm
know
just
what I
saying,
mean?
but he's
That's
going.
what's gonna be so
but they're,
great
But
for
they're going to
TV.
tee him up or something. That just
Yeah.
hasn't happened, is all I'm saying.
Right? That's going to be awesome to watch.
He's
And that's
going
the
to
thing
continue
where-
on. It's not going to deter him or anything. I'm just saying that moment yet,
Yeah.
where someone's like,
RJ's ready.
I was
RJ's ready.
RJ is.
RJ's
yeah.
ready.
absolutely.
RJ might be ready
but
tomorrow.
That moment is
His
coming.
danger zone comment on
Oh,
the
yeah.
that was brilliant. That was so
That time will come,
understated.
and it's going to be awesome to watch, right?
Yeah,
And I
RJ is
think,
ready
I
for
think
the
Deegan's
smoke.
up for it. Like, he is ready for it, but that moment will come.
Yeah, I mean, truthfully, I actually think those guys, they don't like it, and he says stuff. They do try to go race them, but truthfully, there's ways of winning, and I think the only way to kind of stop that and make him think is really physical. Like you gotta tap him a little bit, you know, just give him a little tap. And so, but I think it upsets them. I mean, I've had a chance. I talked to Levi on the plane home. Like, they don't like it, you know, but again, they might be all out, Hayden might be all out, and they just might get beat because Hayden's better, but he's still going to continue to talk that until you say, you know what, if I can't win today, that talk
You're
is gonna
definitely
stop.
not winning,
Yeah,
right?
he's
Like,
not
I
winning.
can't win, but
Yeah.
you're definitely not winning.
He's young too. He's young.
Well, and it's got to
He's
be
young.
fun, you know. Like if you put yourself in his position, he gets up, he can talk a bit of smack, he can do the, you know, like be himself, play that character. The fans respond either positively or negatively, but they're responding, and his dad knows how the game works. And it's like, you can be a nice guy when you retire at the end of the career and just be like, oh, I was playing it.
Well,
You
I
know?
have a comment for that, and I want to ask both of these two. I know we're running out of time here. I was told by the late Josh
Yeah, we
Demuth,
are.
right? He's multi-time arena cross champion, and I would always ask him, like, everybody here likes you. You know, like, you don't get taken out. Everybody's smashing everybody. It was like carnage every time the gate dropped. Nobody was hitting him. And I always ask him, and he's just like, it's a lot easier to win championships when everybody likes you. It's a lot easier. So does that ever come into play where you need friends? Like, everybody can't hate you on the starting line at some point.
Dude, you were Chad Reed's best friend, and I always tried to kiss your ass because I knew.
You were,
disrespect.
though. I knew you were,
We
though.
were probably gonna lap you, and I'm like, I need this dude to get the hell out of my way.
See, that's
Because-
what you got to do. My approach. You just got to land on him a couple times. then you got to worry about none of that. Yeah. So,
No,
like me or
you
not.
can't do that.
Oh, that's great.
No.
We're out of time. That's an awesome way to end it. That's an awesome way to end it.
Mic
Don't
drop.
land on me. Thanks. Round of applause, everybody. You guys are great. Thanks for having us.
Yes, sir.
That's the first ever podcast mashup. Tell your friends. Come visit us in Texas. We'll do it again next Friday.